o'clock on Wednesday morning to feed the pigs. It was a glorious day outside, a beautiful blue sky, no cloud to be seen, and a pleasant summer breeze swept across the farm. A day as glorious as this had so much potential. I would meet Norman later, and we'd go out to play marbles and run across the common. Maybe, if I asked Mother, she might lend me some change to get some ice creams. My mouth watered at the very thought. I had no idea at all that a day like this could come to such a violent end. It was merely the calm before the storm. I met Father outside as we did our respective chores for the day.
It's a nice day today, boy. Work for the crops,
said Father. I smiled. I adored being with Father. He knew so much about farming, and I hoped to death that one day I'd be like him. I especially loved it when he'd show me the tractors. I loved the wonderful, magical machinery on the farm and how it got everything done. It was nothing short of magic. Maybe that's what I'd do when I grew up. Work with machinery. Or I could make the machinery. Yes. That would be marvelous. Simply wizard. At 7:30, Father and I came inside for breakfast. Farming was hungry work, and we were all eager for a plate of fluffy scrambled eggs, thick bacon, glorious fat sausages, fried bread, coarse on the outside, but soft, blissfully soft on the inside. I salivated at the mouth, just thinking about it. Super. But when we came inside, we found nothing there. I looked around in surprise. Where were the hot plates? Where were the pans on the stove? Where were the plates, the eggs, the sausages? My stomach growled ferociously.
What's this all about, June? Where's breakfast?
Grumbled Father.
I'm not doing breakfast from now on. Barbara Moon has written a new article in the Woman's Home Companion about the dangers of a cooked breakfast. There's fruit in the pantry. I'll make jam tomorrow.
My heart sunk. No cooked breakfast, no rashers of bacon or sizzling sausages, just ghastly fruit. Mother, I moaned.
Yes, June,
agreed Father.
This is a bit over the top, isn't it? I'm a working man, and one day Dick here will help me. We need our fuel. If you want to starve yourself, then that's your decision. But don't make us follow this silly diet too.
No, Patrick,
barked Mother.
I'm not having myself and you two die of food poisoning. No cooked breakfasts. That's the key to a healthier life. If we're gone, there won't be any farm, will there?
I moaned once again. Father sighed, but he knew he wouldn't have gotten anywhere by pressing the matter. So he grabbed an apple and silently started eating. I gaped over the fruit. It all seemed so boring and bland. I wanted something hot and filling. But this was nothing more than animal food.
A growing lad too,
grumbled Father, mid-mouthful.
Expected to eat apples, oranges and pears? It's a crime if you ask me.
I nodded vigorously. Mum ignored us and started reading the papers. After an unsatisfactory breakfast of an orange, an apple, and a handful of grapes, I grabbed my bike. Can I go and call on Norman today? I asked Mother and Father.
Yes, it's a glorious day. It'd be a shame for a young lad like you to miss a beauty like this. No, go and play, son. You've most definitely earned it with your work on the farm,
said Father. Can I have some money for an ice cream? I asked Mother. Her face softened, and she handed me a handful of coins. She also started making a cheese and pickle sandwich. She put it in a paper bag, along with an apple and an orange, and handed it to me.
Take this for your lunch,
said Mother. Once I was ready, I hopped on my bike and rode over to Norman's house. It was a fabulous day. Norman and I ran through the common, played marbles, chased some pigeons, and bought ourselves some nice cold ice creams from the ice cream van. We ate picnic lunches on the common, and then we climbed up the trees, racing each other to the top. We saw Francis Baker and Larry Smith there, and we all played cowboys and Indians together. When I got back for tea, I saw that Mother had made rabbit pie with mashed potatoes, peas, cabbage, and onion gravy. I salivated at the mouth. This was definitely worth not having a cooked breakfast for. I sunk into bed that night, feeling the happiest I'd felt in a long time. If only every day could be like this one. I slid into a glorious, dreamless sleep. But I woke suddenly to a loud rumble. I sat up in bed. What on earth was going on? I looked around. Everything seemed to be in order. I ran out of bed and opened the door. Mother and Father were on the landing, a look of concern on their faces.
A storm. A summer storm,
said Father.
Looks like this one is going to be nasty.
Mother and I both wore expressions of concern and worry, and Father a severe frown. We heard the sound of rain pelting against the cottage, and loud claps of thunder.
The crops,
wailed Mother suddenly.
The animals,
barked Father.
Dick, we're going to have to go outside to make sure everything's in order. Come on.
I stood there, stock still. I didn't want to go outside. I was petrified.
Come on, Dick. The longer we leave it, the worse it will get. Let's go.
Father gave me a tug, and I followed him towards the front door, scared to death. As soon as we stepped outside, my vision was blurred, with the torrential rain pouring down from the heavens. We ran out like a pair of charging bulls to inspect the damage. We heard a distant wail from next door. It was old Miss Morris. It was hard to see her through the rain, but we saw the blurry vision of the old lady waving her arms frantically, screaming and crying.
Dick, go tend to Miss Morris whilst I check on the crops and the animals. Quickly now,
urged Father. I ran over to Miss Morris.
My potatoes! My prized potatoes! They're ruined! Absolutely ruined!
She wailed pitifully. My first thought was that she was making a huge fuss about something as minor as potatoes. But she was one of my elders and betters, so I dutifully guided her into her cottage and proceeded to make her a cup of tea with plenty of sugar.
Oh, well, thank you, dear,
She said in between sips.
You're a good boy. Oh, this storm, this tiresome storm. It's giving me a shock and a half, I can tell you. It's been a long time since we've had a storm like this. I remember once, a long time ago, when I was a little girl. Yes, it was an awful storm. I lived in London at the time, though, so everything was different. There weren't any crops to worry about, nor were there helpful neighbours like you to console frightened old ladies like me. Oh dear, what a to-do.
I sat and listened patiently to Miss Morris. But my concerns were about father and the animals and the crops. I sat and fidgeted while Miss Morris talked and talked and talked and wondered how long this ghastly storm was going to go on for. Surely it couldn't go on for much longer. Half an hour later, the storm slowly subsided.
Oh, thank the Lord. The storm is over. What a relief. My heart is all aflutter.
Burbled Miss Morris. So, are you all right, Miss Morris? Do you need help into bed?
Oh, yes, dear, that would be lovely. Then you can go back home. I'm sorry I've kept you for so long. You must be frantic.
Indeed I was. Indeed I was. I wondered how on earth father was doing. Were the animals okay? And what about the crops? I slowly got her up and helped her to her room and into her bed.
Kind boy.
Sighed Miss Morris.
You be careful out there now. The ground will be flooded with rain. Oh, Lord, what a night this has been.
And with that, I heard snores from Miss Morris as she slipped into a glorious, peaceful slumber. I shut the door carefully and walked out into the carnage. It was a wasteland of dead crops and rainwater. I trudged my way through the damage, through the giant puddles that sprawled over the farm and the surrounding land. I saw father standing by the shed, a strange expression on his face. It was something like despair or anger, but it was hard to place. Father, are you all right? What's happened? I asked, worriedly.
The train set.
Father responded in a deadpan expression. The train set, and then I remembered. Father's train set. The one that he had spent many hours of his free time working on, whittling away at the wood, patiently and painstakingly carving the carriages, modelling all the individual parts to perfection. Many hours of his free time had been spent on that train set. Time when he did not have to work on the farm. He took the project very seriously, not liking to be interrupted from his work. He didn't have much free time, so this and the farm work was all he had been doing. He was devastated, and rightly so. Poor father. I am so sorry, father, I said. It was all I could say. There was nothing else I could say. to save the situation of the precious train set he had spent months trying to model, now all ruined by the storm, all that work gone with the wind. Father was silent, his face unreadable, but I could imagine the devastation he was feeling. I led him back inside, where he sunk into an armchair despondently. Mother asked him what the matter was, but he said nothing.
Dick, what happened?
Asked Mother. I told her all about the train set. She let out a deep sigh.
Oh dear.
Was all she could say. The rest of that week was a miserable one. Father did his work with a steely determination, and when he wasn't working, he sloped around the house. There wasn't much free time, for the farm was wrecked. Father and I spent hours cleaning up the farm, re-sowing the crops, trying to get the farm back into working condition. Neither me nor Mother dared to question Father in anything, as his temper was as hot as the coal fire in the living room. Mother started making cooked breakfasts again, ignoring Barbara Moon's advice on its dangers. Anything to keep Father happy. Strange, if the circumstances were different, I'd have been over the moon.
Thanks for telling. Mikey, that was gorgeous. It's Marsha. What was that, Dana?
I really enjoyed that. It was really good.
Yes.
Well done, Mikey.
Mikey, have you?
Indeed.
Mikey?
Yeah.
Have you ever been on a farm? Or?
Not really.
No.
A few times.
It was very vivid. So when you're talking to them, they're telling you their story.
Yeah,
I mean, have you been blind since birth?
yeah,
So what do you see?
nothing.
Nothing. So but you have an imagination.
Yeah, I like to think so.
Well, you definitely do. I like the sound effects. You must have all practiced together a lot.
Yeah, we did.
Was that the idea, that you would all collaborate from it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Della, you've brought up on working on the land, haven't you? Did you recognise any of this, what Mikey was saying?
Yes, it sounded about right.
Did it? That's high praise indeed. This lady's worked the land. Very hard working woman. Who else has worked on the farm here? Julian?
Yeah.
You have? Did you recognise any of that?
Yes, I did.
Yeah? Yeah? Did a good job.
I got a lot of it from Cara because there was like stuff I didn't know about the farm. I live in the city.
Do
so,
you?
Yeah.
Do you want to go and visit the farm then?
Yeah, maybe.
It's farm's behind my house. I'm scared of the cows, so I always end up being scared.
Oh, sorry, I've got my back to you, sorry. Thank you so much, Mikey. That was gorgeous.
Very
Lovely.
good.
Well done, Mikey.
Mikey, thank you very much. All that hard work.